No, I don't think it is correlated to that. First of all, I think the debate is about external tariffs, not internal ones. Secondly, the fact of the matter is we have been thinking about doing this for quite some time, and work on this is going on. So this Trump tariff issue was only a few weeks old, actually, if you think about it, last couple of months. So, you can't announce a major reform like this without having prepared for a very long period of time. So we have been working on it for a long time, and I'm quite glad this is happening. But I don't think you should directly correlate it to any external negotiations on tariffs, etc. Although, of course, in a long-term sense, this is a good thing. If this is good for the economy, it also strengthens our position in the world. No, first of all, so obviously the first round is that for smaller cars and smaller motorcycles, in fact, it's not really small. 350cc for a mobile is pretty big. But anyway, for the cars, for 1200cc for the cars, diesel is I think 1500. But anyway, the point I'm making is that for smaller cars, of course, this lowers it significantly. Even for larger cars, people don't realize that the cars used to not just have the 28%, they also had the compensation cess. Yeah, so if you combine them, they actually go over 40%. So in fact, it'll come down a little bit if anything. Now, of course, there are other items which are sin items, like tobacco items, where I am in favor of having high rates. But even for large cars, once the compensation cess thing rolls over, they will benefit. So the pre-GST system was an absolute mess, as you will know. There were gazillion state taxes, central taxes as well. And basically nobody knew what was going on. There was a huge amount of cascading happening, and not to mention it was inefficient. A lot of people escaped the net altogether. And those who actually honestly paid their taxes had to do a very complicated system. So in that way, the GST system is radically better. I've repeatedly said this, it was the equivalent of a free trade agreement India signed with itself. Because effectively now the Indian states can freely trade with themselves because they have the same framework. Earlier on, if you took a product from Mumbai to Delhi, and at every border, you'd remember there would be long queues of trucks standing there for hours on end. So in that sense, the GST system is been an absolute success. It has genuinely converted into a common internal market. It's much simpler than the older system. This is not to suggest that it didn't have friction. There were many inefficiencies in the system. One of them, of course, was the multiplicity of tax slabs, and also the fact that it was not necessarily logical. Something was somewhere just because in the pre-GST system it was there. So here what has happened is that you have now, even if you didn't know what the tax rate is, if I just tell you the name of the item, even by common sense, I think 90% plus of the time you'll be able to work out which of the two slabs it is. If it's a food type item, if it's this thing, it's probably at 5 or 0. If it's an air conditioner, it'll be at 18, whatever it is. The point is, you can work it out roughly. If it's tobacco, it's at 40. I don't have to tell you that what it is logically based.